Hello everybody and welcome to my new video. I don't know if you've seen my Wish haul, but I bought this shirt on Wish. But for today's video I have a palette declutter. I just moved back home from uni, so now I have way too much makeup and I'm going to start by decluttering the palettes. I have this big bin of palettes. These are all of the palettes that I own. Yeah, we are going to talk about each and every one of them, and I'm going to tell you which ones I'm going to keep, and if I'm not going to keep the palette, then I'm going to explain why. Yeah, this is really heavy. Well, I'm just going to pull them out. First I have the Melt for 20 palette, which I am definitely going to keep because I just bought it off a friend. And I love the color scheme. It's really special, I think. I love that yellow, so I'm definitely going to keep that palette because the quality is also very nice. They are very pigmented and I think this palette is very easy to use, so this palette definitely deserves a spot in my collection. Most of the palettes you are going to see are vegan. The Melt one definitely is because I think every Melt product is vegan. Then I am going to talk about another palette I am definitely going to keep, which is the original Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, which I use every single day at the moment. I am obsessed with it. I love the colors. I used to have a phase where I used the bluish tones quite a lot, but now I am more into the neutrals. And I think this palette has everything you could possibly need, and I love the shimmer shades. They are such a nice quality, very easy to blend, and you can do so much with this palette. I love it and I'm definitely going to keep it. Then a palette I want to get rid of is the Jeffree Star Alien palette. I bought it because it was on sale at a website, so I thought I would buy it, but I don't really use it as much and I'm really not so happy with the color scheme. I really love the idea of an alien palette, but barely any of the shades remind me of aliens, so the only shades I have used in this palette, these are all completely unused. I've used this maybe once. Well, I used this green once. It looked really ugly on my eyes. And I used this yellow greenish shade also like 1 or 2 times. And I used the gold and the goldish green color ones, but I can definitely live without those. So I'm going to get rid of the Jeffree Star Alien palette. Then a Jeffree Star palette I am going to keep, well, I'm going to keep these two, I think, is the Thirsty palette and the Jawbreaker palette. Maybe you won't be able to tell on camera, but there is a big dent in the shimmer shades. I really enjoyed using those. I've used the yellow a lot, the bluish tones not so much, but yeah, I used these ones for blush. I think I used this one for blush quite a bit. And I'm going to keep the Jawbreaker palette because it has a very cool color scheme. Well, I hate how the colors are arranged in the palette, but however, it has very nice pastel tones. I've used this purple more times than I can count. There's a huge dent in the pan. Yeah, I love this palette. But then I also have the older Jeffree Star palettes, and who uses them? I want to know who still uses the Beauty Killer and the Androgyny palette. I just keep them because they are slim and I can fit them in my makeup drawer really easily, but I've never used this. To be honest, if I didn't have this anymore, I wouldn't miss it. Same for the Beauty Killer palette. I kept this because it was the first Jeffree Star palette, but the color scheme of this palette is nothing I'm going to reach for, so that is also a no. What I'm going to keep is this face palette. I have a few face palettes in here as well. This one is by Lunatic Cosmetic Labs and I love this palette. I've used to use it a ton but then I stopped for some reason, but I think I have to start using it again because I remember loving it. A palette I am definitely going to keep, which I haven't used as much as I planned on using, is the Tati Beauty palette, which looks like this. Also, every texture, it has matte, sequins, metallics and glitters. I have to use this more often, so I'm going to keep this on my vanity, so I will use it more. A palette which is also on my vanity, but I basically only use this because of the big mirror, is the Revolution palette. This is the color scheme. I'm just going to keep it for whatever reason. My camera just stopped recording. So then I have my Morphe blush palette, which I'm definitely going to keep because I love it. A palette I just bought is the Huda Beauty Neon palette in the green shade. I've used this maybe once and I remember really liking it, so I'm going to keep it. And I also have this blue palette. I don't think this is vegan. I think I bought this and then I found out it wasn't vegan. A palette I'm definitely going to get rid of is the Kylie Burgundy palette. Back in the day, this was amazing, but I think I've used it maybe once or twice and no. I'm also going to get rid of the Colourpop I Think I Love You palette because again, a very neutral color scheme which I have in many other palettes. I'm definitely going to keep my Gunmetal Melt stack. This one has seen some rough times, but I'm going to keep that. I have Juvia's Place palettes. I have 3 of them, which I'm going to keep because I just brought them back from uni and I don't remember using them. So I love the colors in this one. I also really like how big the pans are and I love the creativity. I'm keeping a lot of palettes. I have to change that. Violet Voss. I have the My Holy Grail palette and the, no, what is the name? Yeah, the Holy Grail palette and the Top Notch palette. One looks like this, the other one looks like this. And I am going to get rid of both of them. I used to love the quality, but I really don't anymore. And I think especially this palette has a lot of the same shades. You could have half of those shades and it would be enough. Another palette I also have from Violet Voss is the Flamingo palette. I remember being so excited for this one to come out. I received it and I have used it twice or once. I think I've only swatched a few shades. Am I going to keep this one? I don't think so, but it looks cute. Maybe I'm going to keep it. This is a maybe. This is a maybe. I have the oldest palette ever. The Urban Decay Vice palette. Anyone remember these? This is number 3, I think, but who the hell knows? This color scheme. I don't understand what they were thinking. No. I think this palette is really ugly, to be honest. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what I was thinking purchasing this. I'm really confused. The colors look kind of dull. I've never felt this uninspired looking at the palette. A palette I have to keep, even though I'm not using it, is the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette. Because my sister gifted it to me and I think she would murder me if I got rid of this. A palette I'm going to get rid of though is the Jeffree Star Shane Dawson Conspiracy palette. I remember being so excited watching the series and I was so excited to get it. I've used it, I think I've used this one 3 times, to be fair. I'm not using the palette, so why should I keep it? Another palette I'm going to get rid of is the Naked Basics, the Ultimate Basics, not just the Basics, which has every basic shade you could possibly need. I used to use this a lot. No, I didn't. If I look at it, I didn't used to use this a lot. I only used the grey shade, which I used to use on my eyebrows back in the day when I had greyish hair. A palette which is also a maybe for me is this stack from Inglot, I don't know, where I bought 3 purple shades, 3 very ugly shades, and 3 greenish bluish shades. This is not a maybe, this is a no. I have Colourpop palettes which I've created myself. I have a big one which I love and I'm going to keep, and I forgot that I had it until I made this video. And then I have 2 smaller ones. One has highlighters in it. Oh, these were from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I had this highlighter palette with very ugly shades and I only kept those 2. The shades were very unusable, so I only kept 2 of them. And for neutral Colourpop shades, then I have another mini palette with lime crime shades. Should I get rid of that? Yes. Then another palette I won't miss, but it was a Christmas present. I got this from my parents. Why is this highlighter sticking out? Okay, I got this from my parents as a Christmas gift, but I hate Too Faced and I'm not going to support that. A brand I really wanted to love, and I hate that I'm saying that I don't love this palette, is Nabla. I have the Secret palette, which looked really pretty and I was so excited about getting it. I remember doing an eyeshadow look with this and some shadows were really hard to blend. Am I going to keep this palette just because I love Nabla as a brand, or am I going to get rid of it because I don't like the quality? I'm going to keep it. Maybe I can make it work. I have 2 Freedom palettes. Isn't Freedom part of Makeup Revolution? Maybe. I have the Pro Blush palette, which looks like this. And I have the Pro Highlight palette, which looks like this. I am going to get rid of both of them. The highlight palette has this really greasy texture, which I hate, and then they have also like cream highlighters, which won't even show up on my fingers, and they have one good highlighter, which is this one. This is the highlighter. It's just insane. It's probably really old. Why did I put this on my face? Then face palettes. I have, oh God, who remembers the Anastasia Contour Cream Kit? Ew, this is very old. Let's not talk about this anymore. I have the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Palette, which looks like this, and again, it's so boring that I want to fall asleep, but I'm going to keep this one because so far I kept none of the neutral matte palettes, so I'm going to keep this one. A palette which I'm definitely going to keep is the Paradise palette by Barry M. I love this one. It looks a little bit destroyed because I used the green shade for Halloween. I mixed it with my foundation, so it looks a little bit rough. But I'm going to keep it because there are very nice shades in it. I have smaller palettes in the back of the bin. A palette I'm going to get rid of is the Catrice Chrome Collection, which is a highlighter palette that I will not use. I have a small Trended Up palette, which you can only get in Germany, I think, with some purple shades. I have a Kat Von D from the True Love collection, but it's the True Romance palette, which was one of my first eBay purchases back in the day. This is so old. No, going to get rid of that. A palette I bought because Tati Westbrook made me do it is the BH Studio Pro palette, which is a face palette with shades that are way too dark for my pale face. I'm going to keep this because I have never used it, so I couldn't even give it a proper chance. So I'm going to keep that. And then we have some smaller palettes. The Naked Basics, which I'm going to get rid of. I have is this a German brand? Benikos with some grey shades. I think I'm going to keep this one because I've never seen this before. I have two smaller NARS palettes. Oh, why is this one sticky? I'm going to get rid of this one because it's sticky. And then I have a Duo, which has a purple and a silver shade, which I'm going to keep. I have a NYX palette. This is called Daring Damsel. Again, really boring. So I'm going to get rid of that. And the last palette is the Too Faced Natural Eyes palette. Oh, I used to use this a lot. Neutral shades again. I'm going to keep this. And these are all the palettes I'm going to get rid of. I think I did a good job. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really interested to hear about your guys' opinions on these palettes and these brands. Comment down below with your opinion on the palettes. Which ones did you like? Which ones didn't you like? Let me know down below. I'm very interested in hearing your opinions, and see you guys in the next video. Bye!